I am here with White Electric Guitar. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us anything you're working on right now?
I'm Max. I make music under the name White Electric Guitar, and I am working on more things, I guess, in that realm, bits and bobs, certain things, nothing too exciting, just, I don't know, not more of the same, but sort of more music, I guess.
I would say, as far as your first two projects go, you had a pretty consistent sound, but it's got this certain contained vibe to it. Do you think you'll remain there, or are you going to branch out more in the next one?
I don't think it'll be any more experimental. If anything, I think it'll probably be less experimental. I think the first record was maybe more weird than the second record. I think the second record was more like maybe more like songs. And the first record didn't, upon reflection, doesn't really feel like songs. It just feels like I don't know, there's a lot of sampling in it, like the vocal samples and stuff, whereas I didn't do that in
Yeah.
the second record nearly at all. I don't think I did that at all. Um, but I guess it just fit it at the time. But now, I don't know. For ages, I preferred the first record, and then I started really preferring the second record, and now I think I prefer the second record, which is, I suppose, a
And
good thing.
yeah, as far as performance goes, the second record did do a bit better, right? You had your hit there off of that record, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that's the trick, really. That one. That but I don't know why people like that one so much. I don't. I didn't really. I never really know what's going to be good or what people are going to like. I just sort of do it and then see what people think and
Yeah, it's
let
tough to
them.
track down what's gonna catch on.
Yeah, 100%. Because some things you just think are going to be like nothing, and then some people are like, oh, that was my favorite thing you ever done. And you're like, oh, that's weird because I didn't even think about that. But I guess you can't think about it too much. You can't really. There's nothing you can really say and or to think about to like make it better or worse.
Yeah. As far as that goes, talking about the difference in your songwriting and the strategies you used, would you say there was any switch in like focusing on music versus focusing on lyrics there for you? Switching to a more lyric focused where you're not sampling other people as much in the second record?
That's just such a good question. I don't know. Mm, I hadn't really thought about the fact that it is more lyric heavy on the second one, but I guess it is. Obviously, it is now I think about it. But um, no, weirdly not. I always write the music first. Always music first, lyrics second, because the lyrics aren't like they're not like planned. I don't like sit down and like write them or anything. I just sort of listen to the song and then think of things that might be good for that, and then it all.
So you write the
I don't.
lyrics for the music?
Yeah, yeah, always, but only because I know the lyrics started out just as something to like be there. I didn't really think too much about them, and I guess I actually don't think too much about them, but a lot of it just like I don't know, it's maybe like subconscious stuff that comes through, and I'm like, oh, that was actually kind of because some people will be like, oh, that was like a real gnarly lyric or like real heavy lyric or something, and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I didn't think about that, but I guess I should just think about more
You
things that I
enjoy them
do.
just
But
as much as, sorry, you
yeah,
enjoy them
no,
just as
yeah,
much
yeah.
as anyone. There's a surprise to for you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I always thought was like a lame thing to say when I was younger. I'd hear people being like, "Yeah, it just happens, man," and I'd be like, "That's a lie. You're thinking about them." But you just don't always. You just sort of do stuff, and it sort of just comes out.
Yeah, I mean, I make music where I scream, so I totally understand the catharsis of lyrics,
Yeah,
especially when
yeah.
you take them out and you're just, I mean, to a degree, even with lyrics, sometimes you can just be conveying emotions and how it sounds and how you present it, which is something I said. The way I ended up meeting you to have this interview was that review I wrote, and in that I did say, you can feel more what you're saying through how you sound than what you're saying sometimes.
Mm. Truly. I really agree
The
with that. I think it's
the
yeah.
the mixing back on some songs where it seems like it's kind of a fear element, or you've got songs where you're right up in the mix and you're really you're saying what you have to say, or you're so sure in what you're feeling, and that shows in how you sound sometimes even more than what you're saying.
Mm.
It's
Totally,
something that really
totally.
drew me in.
Mm. Well, I'm glad because it's that's just something I sort of thought. I don't know. Like I guess a lot of that's down to like not well, not a lot of it, but some of it's down to initially not knowing how to mix things together and just sort of writing because I didn't write it as an album. I wrote it as just like loads of songs that I just decided to put together at the end. Like I do a thing where I just write songs and then when I've got enough to put on an album, I just sort of put them on an album.
Compilation albums
So
almost, but like, is it based on like
yeah, like
a time
mixtapes.
period you wrote them in, or just songs that you think go well together, or
Well, it's
what
funny.
groups
I
them
guess
together?
I just the first one was just I just sat down and decided. Don't know what came over me, but I was just like, I'll just write a record, or I just was writing songs and I wrote maybe the whole first album in like 3 days, and then just recorded it all, and then just sat on it for like a year and a half, and then um the second one, it was much more like, oh, I want to make another record, like I think that'd be cool, and then I did it again, longer time period because I got like friends to help me with like cello and violin and stuff like that, and banjo and shit and drums. But I didn't think again, I didn't think about it consciously like a record. I just thought I'll just put more songs together. So they do just feel like mixtapes in that respect. And I kind of think they are mixtapes, really. They're probably not albums, but I don't really know if I ever would want to make an album because I feel like if you're making an album, you if you write a few songs that you like, you're like, oh, I've kind of got to stick to that. Whereas I'd kind of like to just chuck whatever in there.
Got so many bands in that same scene as you. I mean, I would think of Black Midi predominantly. You've got, I mean, these albums, capital A albums, where it's just every song is playing into each other, and I see the talent and the impressiveness in that, and what you're saying with mixtapes, you're writing a probably a more creatively free, like I can do whatever I want because the impressiveness of a concept album or just the general album in general is the confines that put you in. You're writing a story, whereas you can tell more individual stories, I think, if you're doing a mixtape type thing.
Totally. And you can just get a general feel for what like it sets a scene rather than confining yourself, like you say, to an album. It's almost like a book of short stories instead of like a book, like a novel, you know? And
So
it's like a general theme.
well, I actually have a question from another fan of yours that I've gotten for you from
Cool, cool,
somebody I
cool.
know. Her name's Jaden. She just wanted to know generally what inspires you to start your songs? What's getting you, creatively getting you started? Is it wide? Is it consistently, what is it? Is there a theme there for you?
I think it's probably just mm, do you know what? I have no idea how to answer that question. Not because it's a difficult question necessarily, just because I don't I don't know. I mean, maybe it's like I mean, the first time I did it, I was just like internalizing anger or like depression regarding a breakup. And then the second time I did it was like, I don't know, I thought the second one was happier. I thought I was like making a really happy album, the second one. But then I listened to it and I'm like, probably not that happy. But but I think it just comes from I just get like the idea that I want to do it. It's like it's not it, I think it must be subconscious, like it almost subconscious. I don't really understand that part of myself very well because I don't really think about it too much because I try and ignore like a lot of that sort of stuff. So maybe if I really thought about it, it would be like not trauma, but uh, things happening to me that I'm out of control of, really.
It's less of an inspiration, more of like a I need to talk about this, sort of a what needs to get out way
Yeah,
of
it's like
like
it's just
dispelling something that
catharsis.
needs to be out of your system. Yeah, catharsis.
Exactly. And that's what it is. It's like I wanted it's like I the only reason I write the songs is because I just do because it's like something that I like to do and I feel like it's catharsis, like you say. And then the only reason that I make them into albums is because otherwise I've just got loads of songs that I just do nothing with.
That's that same sort of mentality of it's just feelings being the grouping, I think, is what it loops
Mm,
around to with your albums. Seeing, like you're saying, that first album, the grouping isn't really, this is one big story. It's one
mhm.
big moment or one big feeling. I think seeing, like you're saying, that album is angry or even in sound or sad or even in sound. And then the second album, it's a evolution in how you're feeling, not only in how you're presenting the music.
Totally. It's like an overarching sense rather than like a direct feeling of like sadness all the time or something. It's like I just do you know what it is? It's just a moment in time. It's like because I'm a photographer as well, and that like I really like taking pictures that are not imparted with any of like my style on them. I just take objective pictures like
Hmm.
documents. And I guess all of the music that I make is good for me to like look back on and be like, oh, that's what was happening then. It's like a memory. It's like a way of storing memories without doing anything else with them. You just make a thing and you record it, and then it's like that was happening then. And I can look back at it throughout my whole life and be like, oh, that was what was happening then.
So almost trying to be impartial on things you're experiencing, maybe trying to get
Yeah,
an
totally.
outside perspective from yourself. And
Exactly. Like an unbiased opinion from myself about the situation. And that's the thing about subconscious. That's what it does. It just sort of like filters through without any real control over it.
I think that would pretty well round off what I had to ask you about. Do you have anything you'd want to say regarding your songwriting? Anything upcoming, or just anything you'd like to talk about, tell the world?
Mm, ooh, tell the world. Maybe I'll just suggest my favorite thing to listen to at the moment. Let me get it up. I'll tell you the coolest shit that I'm listening to, and somebody can, Nora Brown. She's great. You listen to Nora
Love Nora
Brown?
Brown. Hmm.
Yeah, she's the fucking king. Um, Also, R.I.P. Shane McGowan from the Pogues.
Yep.
Um, and also, what's really good? I'll tell you what's really good. Listen to this band Mitsubishi Suicide. You heard those guys?
I've heard of them before. I'll make sure to check them out
Yeah,
after this.
yeah, they're
The
fucking
stuff,
good, man. They're
what you
so
listen
good. It's like, yeah,
to uh right before while you're making a record, do you think it plays a big part in how it sounds, and not just, that being the
massively.
palette partially? Yeah.
Yeah, massively. I get like, do you know what I do? I listen to something, I'm like, I'm gonna make a record exactly like this. And
Yeah,
then
I've
it
had that.
never ends up like that. And that's kind of the good thing. It's like I have a very specific idea of what I want to sound like, but obviously I can't do that. So I just end up making something that sounds, I guess, how my music sounds. But like when I was making those first two records, I swear to God, I was trying to make them sound like other records, but they just didn't. I can't even think of what the records would be off the top of my head. Oh, maybe like Front Bottoms albums. I was trying to make them sound like, or Modern Baseball or something. But it just doesn't work out like that.
So then I've got a good final question that'll round that off. Well,
Hmm.
which parts of the records are you consistently playing? Because you're talking about bringing other instrumentalists on for your stuff. Who are you bringing
Hmm.
on to play, and what instruments are you having people play for you?
My friend Lloyd, he's in this band Power Plant and a fucking ton of other bands. They just toured America actually. He just got back last week and he plays drums on. I can't remember what the names of the songs are, because I don't tend to. I just look at them as file names on my laptop. But I think one of them is called. It's the. I don't know if it's called Should I Move to LA because I do. It was called Should I Move to LA as a working title, but now it's maybe not. Let me just look on Spotify. Sorry about this. I should probably know
No, you're
these
right.
things. But yeah, he plays on, oh, Nothing Compares to You.
Mercy, which is the one that has the same title as the Prince song, right?
Yeah. And what's the name? Sinead O'Connor song.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's the same song.
That's
Nothing Compares to You. And he also plays on K9 as well. And then Nothing Compares to You also has my friend Ella playing violin and my friend Jack playing banjo. And then who else is on other songs? There's maybe my friend Felix on cello on a few other songs, but I don't know exactly which ones. I should probably find out. But he also mixed the first record, and then I mixed the second record because I just fucking wanted to put it out. So I just did it.
I remember you talking about having someone else almost being your mixing engineer for a bit, which would have been Isaac,
Yeah,
of
yeah, Isaac
of
was going to do it.
up with doing it yourself, which, as I said before, worked out pretty well. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Isaac, but I think it worked out pretty well as far as the environment built there.
Yeah, well, I mean that record, that first record, I wouldn't put any music out if it wasn't for Isaac. And to be honest with you, it was like Isaac, Charlie, and Lewis, who were all Black Country New Road, and now it's just them, and Isaac's gone. But they all came over to mine while I was doing some stuff, and they were like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm just making these tunes," and I played them. They were like, "I'll just play it. We'll see what it sounds like." And I played it, and they were like, "Man, you have to put this out." And then I didn't at first because what they did is I think Charlie put one of my songs on a rough trade compilation for Black Country New Road, something like that.
I've
And then
actually found that and I've listened to it.
really, oh
It's
man,
still out
I
there.
can't find that. I literally don't know where that is. You need to send me that because I don't know. I know that
It
Famous are
is.
on it as well. I like those guys a lot, and a few other people, but
Ethan's on
maybe
there
Death
too.
Crash. Ethan's on there, yeah, yeah, the big man. And um, then yeah, they put that on there, and then I was like, fuck, I might as well release it. And then I just banged a whole thing together. And Isaac was like, I'll mix it. And then he spent like 2 weeks sort of not doing it. And then he was like, I can't bother to do this. So I was like, yeah, well, I'll just fucking Felix will just do it. So Felix did it. And then, yeah, just banged it out. But, that was how that came about. And then, uh, I don't know. I think Isaac's going to do more stuff soon, though. Hopefully, I think that's what he should be doing.
Well, I look forward to all of it. Can't wait to see who you get involved next and what you end up writing next.
All being
But
well,
either way,
really awesome stuff, you know. Let's just fucking see, really. We'll see what comes out, see what
yeah,
shit
we'll see what
fucking comes
spews out
out.
next.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. Oh, also,
Well,
best musician ever, PT. You listen to PT?
I do know PD. I actually just got
Oh man.
recommended him the other day.
He rules, man. Absolutely rules. Rules, man. Super good um music. I don't know how else to
Yeah,
say it. It's just like the front bottoms, he sort of like
yeah. I've been
pop
digging
punk.
I'll Wait that synth and the
Oh,
whole
Al
part of
wait,
it.
man, I was blasting that in the car today, just ripping it with that tune. That is a fucking banger. Yeah, good lyrics.
All
But
right.
yeah,
Well, this will be the end of our official interview then. Thank you so much for coming on here.
no worries, no worries. Thank you for having me,
Real. I will. Hopefully, this will be the first of many interviews, but if this is the only one, I appreciate it a lot.
man. No, good vibes. I honestly, I really appreciate you listening to the tunes, and I'm really glad you like them because it's just good to, I all the bands that I like, I'm, it's, some of them are so tiny, but they make you're like, oh, this is such a huge thing for me, even though they're not that big. And I really like, being that to somebody is like somebody really vibing with it, even though it's not like massively commercially successful music.
Yeah, I mean,
I
a lot of
fuck
your
with that.
songs have been like, you know, so attached to memories or attached to people. There's, songs I'd say this is mine, this person's song. Like it really means a lot of those songs mean a lot to me. So
That's good. That's what I want them to be. That's all I want them to be. It's just something that people can be like, hey, that song means a lot to me. That is all I ever strive for it. It's like all you can ever ask for as somebody putting stuff out.
well, I'm glad I could fulfill that and I'm glad I could get to talk to you today.
No, man, me too, me too. And if you're ever in the UK, you can let me know. I'll be rolling around on the boat,
We'll
just
have
boating
to
around.
make a whole album in the span of a couple of days if I ever go up there or something.
Man, of course, got to be done. It's easy, easy. Just fucking smash it out. Just get it
All
done.
right, man.
Cool, cool, cool.